ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 7 चैप्टर 9 वर्स 9। मन्ये धनाभिजन रूपतपः श्रुतौ जस् तेज प्रभाव बल पौरुष बुद्धि योगाः नाराधनाय हि भवन्ति परस्य पुंसो भक्त्या तुतोष भगवान् गजयूथपाय। Prahlad Maharaj continued, one may possess wealth and aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic yogic power. But I think that even by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Of course, this devotional service also has to be pure. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. No kind of material qualification is the means for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, only by devotional service can the Lord be known. Bhaktya mamam bijanati. Unless the Lord is pleased by the service of a devotee, the Lord does not reveal himself. Nam prakasha sarvasya yoga maya. This is a verdict of all Shastras. Neither by speculation nor by material qualifications can one understand or approach the Supreme. No, this is important, right? Unless pleased by the service of a devotee. Hmm. So sometimes, we might be undergoing survey, we might be doing some service, and we are not, nothing is coming out of it. It looks like, right? We might be just struggling and no outcome. But actually, the Lord is not so much concerned about the outcome because the outcome is anyway is in His hands. Mm. But what the Lord sees is our attitude of service, right? And also, like yesterday, I was saying in one of the classes, saying that why did Lord give Bhagavad Gita? He gave Bhagavad Gita, actually, the one who actually studies Bhagavad Gita properly and applies the instructions in their life becomes a devotee. Now, which means that the most important thing is hearing Bhagavad Gita and trying to follow the instructions in our life. And there might be many instructions which might be very difficult for us to follow. But what the Lord is pleased with is our attempt, sincere attempt to follow those instructions, not whether we were successful or not. We might fail, but that is not the criteria. Our sincerity in purpose is what pleases the Lord. And the Lord reciprocates to acknowledge that, saying that, yes, I'm pleased by your sincerity. Hmm. And if there is no sincerity, then just show bottle devotion is of no use. If you're just trying to show off to somebody, that is of no use. So this is very, very important. Lord will be pleased by what? By our sincere attempt to please Him. Sincere attempt. And we might be a squirrel, we might be Hanuman. That doesn't matter. And then the Lord reveals Himself. How does the Lord reveal Himself? Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. What is the meaning of this verse? Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. What does it mean?
The meaning is that Lord will give us intelligence, buddhi yoga, uh, to basically apply and then advance as per our situation.
Okay, Lord gives intelligence to apply and advance as per our situation. Okay, what else? See, actually, each of our devotional paths, every devotee's progress is unique, right? And generally, when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we might not be able to completely understand what the path for our progress is. Some people might, some devotees might, some devotees might. Now, for example, we are practicing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. How do we go to the next stage? How will we know? So there are two ways to know that. One is a soul surrendered to the Guru will simply approach the Guru and say, we ask for instructions. In the time like this, I want to make progress. What should I do? He is fortunate. If he's fortunate to be able to get in touch with his Guru, then Guru will tell him, which is non-different from Krishna revealing. Sometimes we might not be in that kind of a favorable situation to be able to contact, or even if we are in, there will be so many instances where actually we might not go to Guru, but we are just in the middle of some contemplation, thinking what needs to be done, what to do, should I go left, should I go right, etc. But if a devotee is sincerely surrendered, then Krishna will actually reveal the path. He will say, yes, take left. And it might not come to us directly. It might come through another devotee. It might come through even certain times non-devotees also. Depends on how Krishna wants to reveal. So the Dadhami Buddhi Yogam Tam means Krishna might reveal through Shastra, Krishna might reveal through other devotees, Krishna might reveal through anybody. And some very, very fortunate souls, Krishna will reveal himself. How does Krishna reveal himself? It might appear like a dream. It might appear like a dream, right? So, but that revelation is important because our path to perfection is going to be very, very unique. Uh, how is this going to be unique? For example, now what service we are going to actually end up doing, or what is our constitutional position, what is our eternal seva, we don't know still. And it is going to be unique. It's going to be unique because there are so many different types of services and zillions of devotees in Goloka. And there is going to be some flavor of ours, which is going to be different. Each of us have different, each of us are different, each of us are unique. Our devotional offerings to the Lord also will be unique. It could be simple, like saying that, if 10 people do arti to the Lord, each of them will have their own flavor. In terms of how they move their hand, how they ring the bell, etc. Everything is unique. So the Lord will reveal Himself to that extent of help, making us realize our eternal constitutional position, etc., etc. Now, for this, what we need to do? First is we need to be sincere and serious about it. I was reading, I think, third canto of Bhagavatam, I think, Pilamuni talked to Devahuti, and I was seeing multiple verses again and again and again. Kapila Dev is just talking about intensity, intensity, intensity. First time I actually came about so many verses, consecutive verses talking about intensity of devotion. It had not registered before last time I read, I think. So, which means that this intensity is very, very important. It is sincere, serious, intense devotion, right? And parallelly, so which mainly this intense, serious, sincere devotion means Shavanam Kirtanam, right? So, we have to do our chanting every day. Chanting has to happen in Brahma Muhurta for those who are serious about making progress. And I've been telling this multiple times, saying that you have to adjust your schedule such that at least you can do majority of your rounds early in the morning. You have to adjust your schedule. which means that no sleeping late, sleeping on time, getting up early, right? And second is to read Srila Prabhupada's books. See, the way this is going to work for mostly generalizing, I'm generalizing, is saying that we first read Bhagavad Gita. Like I said, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, we become devotees. Meaning, what we have become convinced about is that I want to become a devotee. I don't want to come back to this miserable material world. That is the result of reading Bhagavad Gita. Okay, if you have not got there after reading Bhagavad Gita, that means that we have not read Bhagavad Gita properly. Now, after that, then we start reading Bhagavatam. Now, Bhagavatam is to understand what type of a devotee I should become. And up to nine cantos, we hear about all different kinds of devotees in devotion with other forms of the Lord. Eventually, we come to Krishna in the 10th canto. Now, which might take many years for many devotees, unfortunately. Getting to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, reading every verse, every purport, etc. Because devotees, unfortunately, don't have so much time. It's going to take years. So, Prabhupada gave us Krishna book. Right? So, what we should do, ideally, which is what I suggest to all devotees, is read Bhagavad Gita and read Krishna book parallelly few times, 2, 3 times. Right? And by then, already what will happen is by the effect of Krishna, by the effect of Bhagavad Gita, you already agreed to become a devotee, and then you start the chanting process. And then by reading Krishna book, you will now be moved to the next stage of devotion, which is attraction to Krishna. Just by reading Krishna book. If you've not done it, please do it. Even now. Right? And then parallelly, then once or twice, then twice say Bhagavad Gita is over, then start Bhagavatam. And you keep reading regularly, daily, till you come to the 10th canto. But by then already you have developed sufficient understanding of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, which is what is required for us to move to the next. And this sadhana of chanting along with reading is what is going to help us make progress. And the natural outcome of this sincere sadhana is sincere seva, sincere, respectful dealings with other devotees. We don't need too much of focus on, like if somebody is reading Prabhupada's books regularly, they will become a proper devotee. They don't need to be given any special other attention or training or anything. But unfortunately, devotees don't do that. Devotees don't read Prabhupada's books diligently. So then we end up, having to train them. What training basically means, telling them what is Shastra is telling. That's all, because they don't know. But if somebody is diligently reading Srila Prabhupada's books, then no need for any special training. The devotee will automatically know because he will read these things in Prabhupada's books. Right? So that is the meaning of being pleased. That is when the Lord will be pleased with us. Right? Not just when we are doing some big service. No. The way we are dealing with devotees, the way we are dealing with new people. Last week I was telling some devotees in our center saying that, see, whenever you see a new person in the temple, please understand you are the servant of this temple. And some new guest has come to Krishna's house. Isn't it basic etiquette or common sense for us to actually go and talk to that person, make that person feel happy, comfortable, such a way that they will want to come again? But I see most of devotees they want to be in their own world, which means that their own group of devotees, their own circle, talking amongst themselves. New people have come and they will go. I mean, multiple times I've had this experience, when I make it a point that if I see any person coming to the center for the first, I personally go and speak to them. Right? And people feel touched about that because, this material world is all, self-centered people all over, right? Nobody really bothers. In fact, one devotee who came to our center recently, she was saying that, I've gone to so many ISKCON centers, but nobody bothered to speak to me. Right? And I felt very bad saying that, what is this? Is this what Prabhupada created? Is this why Prabhupada created ISKCON? So we have to, all this is, or naturally it comes. If you read Prabhupada's books, naturally it comes. We don't have to put any extra effort. But because we don't read, and like I keep saying, we are spoiled with this hearing business, unfortunately. Mhm. Hearing has replaced reading, but there is no replacement of reading because you are directly hearing from Prabhupada when you read his purports. This is hearing from Prabhupada. Now, if you have a problem taking a book and opening and reading it, there are audio books. Read audio books, right? Which are going to read the purport for you. But anyway, it's just our conditioning, that's all. There is no other way to connect with Prabhupada but his purports. So we have to diligently read the purport. Then automatically we'll know what we need to do, how we need to make progress. And he will reveal. Prabhupada reveals. And of course, Guru is there, then senior devotees are there to give us that guidance. But the important thing is sincerity, seriousness, intensity. This is required. Otherwise, we will do some devotion, but it's not going to be intense enough to take us back to Krishna. It's the most toughest goal to achieve. Toughest. Mm, more tougher than anything else that we can think of achieving in the material world. Number one. Number two, even big devotees, big personalities have not been able to achieve perfection. For us, we are very fortunate that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the process which makes even small, insignificant people like us become big in terms of spiritual progress because of just the power of the devotional process that is basically the chanting of विप्राद्विषड्गुण युताद् अरविन्दनाभा पादारविन्द विमुखात् स्वपचन् वरिष्ठं मन्ये तदर्पितमनोवचने हितार्थ प्राणं पुनाति सकुलं न तु भूरिमानः. If a Brahmana has all 12 of the Brahminical qualifications in Sanat Sujata, they are described in this Sanat Sujata, is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog eater. See, just note this. A devotee can also be a dog eater. Meaning, when somebody comes to devotion, he's come from a family of dog eaters and he's just come in touch with devotees and has started his devotional life. He can be a devotee who is a dog eater. But here, versus Prahlad Maharaj is saying, but he has dedicated everything mind, words, activities, wealth, life, everything to the Supreme Lord. Very rare, but with Srila Prabhupada's appearance and the magic he created in this world, lot of this was seen. Right? People born in such families who dedicated everything to Prabhupada. Mhm. So in front of such a devotee, a big Brahmana is nothing, is insignificant, lower. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana because the devotee can purify his whole family. Whereas a so-called Brahmana in a position of false prestige, thinking that he is something great, cannot purify even himself because just thinking that I am great itself is impurity. So he cannot even purify himself. How can he purify his whole family? And this is the power of surrender to the Lord. But the important thing is dedicated everything. Kaya, vasa, mind, words, activities, wealth, life. And like I was just saying, this is the topmost achievement. You want to become the biggest achiever in this world, achieve this. Dedicate everything to the Lord. And this is something which will be recognized by the Supreme Lord himself. But any of your material or accomplishments, Lord even doesn't even turn towards it. He's not interested in that. But when you do this, Supreme Lord himself takes note. Oh, this is my dear devotee. Krishna notes, your personally he will be interested in such surrender. Here is a statement by Prahlad, one of the 12 Mahajanas, regarding the distinction between a devotee and Brahmana. A Brahmana expert in Karma Kanda. There are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. Not this. But the central principle is to become a first class pure devotee. भगवद्भक्तिहीनस्य जातिशास्त्रं तपस्तपः अप्राणस्यैव देहस्य मंडनम लोकरंजनम. If one is born in a high family like that of a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya, but is not a devotee of the Lord, all his good qualifications, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, are null and void. Hmm? Lok Mandanam, Lokaranjanam. They're considered as a decorations of a dead body. Hmm? Apranasya dehasya. Deha without a prana. Lokaranjanam, the decoration. Mandanam. In this verse, Prahlad Maharaj speaks of the Vipras, the learned Brahmanas. The learned Brahmana is considered best among the divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But a devotee born in a low Chandala family is better than such Brahmanas. A devotee is better than anyone, for he's in the transcendental position on the Brahman platform. What is this transcendental platform? Mam cha yogya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunantamatitetan brahma bhuya kalpate. One who engages in full devotion, who does not fall down in any circumstance. Abhyabhichareni bhakti. In full devotion, does not fall down in any circumstance. At once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Brahman. Okay, this is nice. Sanat Sujata. What are the 12 qualities of a first class Brahmana? Gnanam, Satyam, Dama, Shrutam. Means scholarly, I think. Well read. Amat Saryam. No envy. Three. He is what? Mm, Titikshanas. Asuya. Titiksha, Anasuya. Yagnascha Danam cha Dhruti Shama cha Mahavrata Dvadasha Brahmanasya. So, of course, even Bhagavad Gita says, gives qualities of Brahman. But this is from a book called Sanat. The European and American devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement are sometimes accepted as Brahmanas, but the so-called caste Brahmanas are very much envious of them. In answer to such envy, Prahlada says that one who has been born in a Brahmana family but is falsely proud of his prestigious position cannot even purify himself, not to speak of his family. Whereas if a Chandala, low-born person, is a devotee and has fully surrendered, he surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord, he can purify his entire family. Why just entire family? He can purify the whole world. We have had actual experience of how Americans and Europeans, because of their full Krishna consciousness, have purified their whole families so much so that a mother of a devotee at the time of her death inquired about Krishna with her last breath. Therefore, it is theoretically true and has been practically proven that a devotee can give the best service to his family, his community, society, nation, etc. The foolish accuse a devotee of following the principle of escapism, that they are escaping from their duties. No, but actually, the fact is that the devotee is the right person to elevate his family. Finally, what is this? What is this responsibility people are talking about? Just taking care of the physical body, which might be okay, which might be considered not necessarily bad. But instead of taking care of just the body, if somebody takes care of the soul and the progress of the soul, that is far more superior. So if a devotee gives up the service of the physical body, but takes care of service of the soul of his family, then that is far more superior. A devotee engages everything in the service of the Lord, and therefore he's always exalted. See again, uses everything in the service of the Lord. And we have to have this mindset, mentality all the time, saying that how can I use everything in the service of the Lord? 24 hours, our thought process has to be Krishna. Then our work and this and that and all that should be considered more like deviation, disturbance, distraction. But even if that work, everything, if that can also be used in the service of Krishna, then there is no distraction. It becomes karma yoga. Then slowly, steadily, so we'll be doing little bit of bhakti, lot of karma, and then try to connect with the Lord through karma yoga. Then gradually our devotion will increase, our karma will decrease. To an extent, finally, when there is zero karma and full bhakti. That is the progress of a serious, sincere devotee. Hmm? I've shown this multiple times, but again, let me just, for the interest, in the interest of You should note this. Oh, okay, so first is little bhakti. One element of bhakti and two elements of karma. Hmm. Starting will be what in our life? Bhakti zero, karma three. Meaning three assume is the full karma means three, 3 points. Bhakti is 0 point. This is like chemistry. B0K3. If you know H2O, H2O means two molecules of hydrogen, one molecule of oxygen. So like this, this is B0K3. This is beginning, general, everybody, every human being. Then next it becomes B1K2, which means now out of the three elements, one element, little bit bhakti we added in our life. And then we have still two elements of karma. So, for example, if you have like whatever 10 hours in a day, right, or 12 hours in a day, hmm? No, 12 by 3, right? So, if you do 12 by 3, 4 hours, no, this is also too much, right? So, then we will do something like, it's like 0.5 or 0.25. Uh, so, we'll start with like 0.25 bhakti, and then we will have 2.75 karma. And then we will come to 0.5 bhakti. Uh, then 2.5 karma. What does this mean? So it means that uh, one is 4 hours. So half is like 2 hours we are doing devotion, right? This is where most people are. 2 hours of devotion. So half bhakti we are doing, two and a half, which means that majority of our time we are doing karma. 2.5 times of our day we are doing karma. Half of that we are doing bhakti. Hmm. So about 6 to 8 hours we are doing karma and 2 hours we are doing devotion. This has to go on increasing like this gradually. Bhakti has to go on increasing, karma has to go on decreasing like this. Finally, this has to become this. So we started with B0K3 and we ended with B3K0, meaning full reverse. Bhakti was zero, now bhakti became maximum. Karma was maximum, karma became zero. This is the ideally the stage of Vanaprastha. Or it can be even before, even earlier. Doesn't have to be only, doesn't have to wait for such a long time. But unless we do this, unless we come to this stage, this is called Kevala Bhakti. This is called Kevala. Kevala means only, or you can say pure, Uttama, whatever. But Kevala means nothing else. There's only Bhakti. This stage is what we need to teach. If we don't reach this stage, then we can't get Krishna. Can't get Krishna. Prabhupada said that 15 to 18 years we should be in this B3K0 if we want to achieve Krishna in this life. So B3K0 has to be for 15 to 18 years of our life wherein we are only doing devotion without any karma. Of course, we are not talking about Gnana because Gnana anyway, nobody does Gnana. Most devotees are stuck in this karma. Is this clear? This is our goal of progression. Hmm? So this is the stage when devotee engages everything in the service of the Lord. And therefore is always exalted. And such a devotee can free their, like 3 generations of ancestors, 21 ancestors, 21 generations, right? Or 21 ancestors he will deliver. That is the power of devotion. But for that, what is required is full surrender. And dedicate everything to the Supreme Lord, whatever we have. And then it doesn't matter what family he is born in. नैवात्मनः प्रभुरयं निजलाभपूर्णो मानं जनात विदुषः करुणो वृणीते यज्जनो भगवते विदधीतमानं तच्चात्मने प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुखश्रीः. Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead is always fully satisfied in Himself. Therefore, when something is offered to Him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. But for the Lord does not need service from anyone. When I first read that, I felt like very sad. I was saying Lord does not need service from anyone. He does not need, but He happily accepts it when devotees offer service. Because He is full in Himself. But of course, this full in Himself is not, He is Paramatma. This is more of Paramatma's position. But Krishna is not self-satisfied. Krishna's position is very, very special. Mm. And to give an example, if one's face is decorated, reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Meaning he is fully satisfied himself, so he doesn't need anything. But Krishna wants his devotees. Krishna wants devotees. If he was so full, why did he even create us? He created all of us, Raso Vaisaha, to enjoy bliss with all of us. And that is his self-satisfied. Of course, because we are all still parts and parcels of Krishna, so in being satisfied with the devotees, he is also satisfied in himself. But explicitly saying he is not satisfied in himself the way yogis, gnanis think about. Saying that, I don't want anybody's association. I'm going to sit in one place, secluded place, and do dhyana. No, Krishna wants his devotees. Krishna wants to be with devotees. Yatra gayanti madbhaktaha tatra tishtami narada. So Krishna is not sitting alone in Vaikuntha. Krishna is sitting wherever his devotees are glorifying him. So he does not need any service. It is for our purification. But still, he is happy when a devotee does that service with love for the pleasure of Krishna. If we do it mechanically, then yeah, he will just accept it. But he doesn't have need for that kind of a service. He's not in need of for anything. He just wants love. That's all. Bhakti Yoga, it is recommended that a devotee follow 9 principles. The service of glorifying the Lord by hearing, chanting, and so on is not, of course, meant for the benefit of the Lord. This devotional service is recommended for the benefit of the devotee. Lord is always glorious, whether the devotee glorifies him or not. But if the devotee engages in glorifying the Lord, the devotee himself automatically becomes glorious. By glorifying the Lord constantly, the living being becomes purified in the core of his heart, and thus he can understand that he does not belong to the material world, but is a spirit soul, whose actual activity is to advance in Krishna consciousness, so that he may become free from the material clutches. And these material clutches can be different for different people. For some, it's family, for some, it's money, for some, it's work, for some, it's social service, etc., etc. Whatever it can be anything, but it's a clutch, material clutch. It's just binding us. Thus, the blazing fire of material existence is immediately extinguished when one glorifies the Lord and his heart becomes pure. Then the blazing fire of material existence is extinguished. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. A foolish person is amazed that Krishna orders Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamekam Chanam Raja. Abandon all varieties of religious activities and just surrender to me. Some foolish scholars even say that this is too much to demand. But this demand is not for the benefit of the Supreme Lord, rather it's for the benefit of the human society. And this is our natural position anyway, uh, to surrender to Krishna. It's just in our ignorance uh, that we are trying to be independent. Human beings individually and collectively surrender everything to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness. All human society will benefit. No, does not dedicate everything to the Lord is described in this verse as avidusha. Vidusha means like word or intelligent. Avidusha means rascal. Namam dushkritino moodaha prapadyante naradhamaha maya paratajnana asuram bhavama. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, dushkritinaha. They are dushkritina, meaning they are miscreants. And then their first classification is moodha, fools. Naradhama, lowest of mankind. Maya Paritagnana, knowledge stolen by illusion. Asuram Bhava Ashrita, partake the atheistic nature of demons. They They don't surrender to Krishna. Because of ignorance and misfortune, the atheists and the Naradhamas, they do not surrender unto the Supreme Lord. Therefore, although the Supreme Lord, Krishna, is full in himself, he appears in different yugas to demand the surrender of the conditioned souls so that they will benefit by becoming free from the material clutch. So if you don't surrender to Krishna, you are not going to become free from material clutches. We're going to remain bound. In conclusion, the more we engage in Krishna consciousness and render service unto the Lord, the more we Krishna does not need service from you. Uh, but this is for our benefit. Like I said, obviously Krishna is also feels incomplete without his devotees, but that is Krishna's position. But in general, when we talk about this material creation, Krishna is not waiting for anything from us. Whatever we do in the name of devotional service is all for our benefit only, for us to become purer. And then when we come to the stage of pure devotion, then yes, then there is a very intimate relationship between Krishna. So much intimate that he is ready to be bound by Yashodama. Hmm? So Krishna is Atma Rama, self-satisfied. Apta Kama, all his desires are fulfilled within himself, meaning he doesn't have to look anywhere else. But that is just, again, that's not. Hmm. Krishna is anchoring for his devotees. That's the beauty of Krishna. Hmm. So, but please remember this, by surrender, we are going to become free from this material, our material attachments, for which we have to surrender, which is the end goal of Bhagavad Gita. Which is why I said, if you read Bhagavad Gita properly and you surrender to Krishna, you become a devotee. And then automatically you become free from all material pleasures, all kinds of bondage, mental bondage. It's all mostly mental. We just in our mind bound by things, not physically bound. Hmm? So we have to understand that whatever devotional service we do, which will help us progress, Lord is not really waiting for any of this. When we offer bhoga to the Lord, it's not like Lord is waiting. Oh, I am hungry. Please offer. Please offer on time. No. But if you offer on time, then we will learn to do service to the Lord nicely in a disciplined way, and Lord will be pleased by that our sincere attempt. But when He is pleased, who gets the benefit? We get the benefit, so that we can become dearer to Him. Okay, so sometimes devotees get a little, flustered by all these things, saying why how much particular we have to be about time and the way things are done, etc., etc. Why? Because that's going to please Krishna. Simple answer. We don't need any other answer. Just going to please Krishna. Do you need any more better reasoning than that to serve nicely? Okay, so I'll stop if there are anything. All okay? Okay. Well, Bhagavatam की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा नाम पावने व्यवहार समवेत गौरव